If you've played enough War Thunder, you've probably come across this screen before. Notice anything weird? Here, I'll zoom in a bit. Exactly 0 extra research points? Meaning I got precisely enough RP to research this modification, no more and no less? This scenario happens much too often for this to be a coincidence. Looking on Reddit, there's evidence that people have been running into this issue 7 years ago, and I personally have encountered this too many times to count. For the longest time, I assumed that it was just some sort of bug that was inconsequential, but I couldn't know for sure until I tested it myself. So, I decided to do some investigating. This 0 RP situation usually occurs when I play multiple matches in the same plane in a row, and so is likely because Gaijin doesn't know how to allocate research points for modifications you haven't specifically clicked to research. If you play a match, die, and leave early in it to join a new match, and the first game ends while you're still in your second game, the game may run into the situation where you finish researching a modification and doesn't know where to put the rest of the research points. Until now, I had just assumed that Gaijin held on to these research points so that when you did select the next modification and finished another game, it would carry over. This seems to be what some people on Reddit think is happening, but I can't be certain, and without actually running the numbers myself, it would be impossible to know for sure, especially with Gaijin. Even beyond their spaghetti code, Gaijin has a terrible track record when it comes to how stingy they are with making the grind, and it took us burning down their Steam review page for them to release a 2-year roadmap that would put the game's economy in the somewhat tolerable state it is today. And they're not even done with it yet, they're still testing RP bonuses for having completed a tech tree. So, here's what I'm going to do. The one prop plane they bothered to add this update was the Dutch Sea Fury, and I'm going to research it by playing my Dutch Firefly, which is completely stock. Because the Sea Fury is only 1 rank higher and also isn't connected by research line, the Sea Fury will get no research boost or penalty, letting me use it to track how much actual research points I get. This way I can compare it with how much modification research I've accrued and identify any discrepancies between the two. I'll also be avoiding researching all modifications in a single tier, so that I don't get any modification tier bonus, which might mess with the results. We'll be keeping a tally of how much RP I get from each match and how much goes into both vehicle and modification research. I'll also have a timeline up so that you can see what games are in progress or have finished. So, let's get into it. First game, Kamchatka. I killed this 109 in a reversal but died to this P38 that dove down just for me, and so I leave the game early. No RP gain just yet since the game hasn't ended, so I jump into the next match. Second game, Chinese Civil War 1946. I crit this B25, then lose a dogfight to this P51, so I leave the game early as well. The RP from the first game just came in, and it's at 989. Not enough for a modification, so I'll just jump into the next match. Third game, Kuban. I struggle a bit to kill this Key 61, but I do manage to get it. Looks like someone isn't happy about it. Then I kill this P51 in a head-on, and kill 2 more ground targets with my remaining ammo and crash to leave the game early. Second game ended, RP from that game was 1062 since the 2 planes I hit end up giving me kill credit. And here now we see that the game didn't know what to do with the RP above the amount I needed to finish the modification research. So currently I'm owed 851 RP, and I'll keep track of that as I start the next match. Fourth game, Kamchatka again. I managed to get 3 kills in quick succession but end up dying early, so back to the hangar it is. At this point the third game hasn't ended yet, so instead of joining a new match I wait so that I can see if the missing research points get added. And when match 3 ends, the results are interesting. I got 2,462 RP from the match, but only 2,251 went into modifications. Something definitely isn't right here, but let's wait for match 4 to end. Match 4 ends, and I got 1,720 RP for the vehicle, but when I look for modifications, nothing? I got no modification research progress from this match at all? I came into this expecting that some RP loss might be possible, but an entire game's worth of points being completely gone? Entering and leaving a test flight to try and let the game reload does nothing, so is this really it? To be 100% certain and give Gaijin the benefit of the doubt, I play 2 more games, one where I die early, but don't return to hangar until the game is over, and one more where I make sure to survive until the end. These 2 games give me the proper amount of RP for each of these individual games, but nothing more. There's no trace at all of there ever having been any missing RP from games 2, 3, and 4. I also know for sure that Gaijin didn't just lump the previous rewards into the rewards for game 5 and 6, because if you look at the research progress for the Sea Fury, it's much farther ahead, by exactly the amount that went missing in games 2 through 4. When I went into this, I genuinely didn't expect Gaijin to be ripping us off like this. Maybe you don't think it's that big of a deal, but over the decade or so that people have been playing War Thunder, this has to add up to be a genuinely significant amount of RP lost. The fact that this has been going on for at least 7 years and very few people have brought attention to it is kind of crazy to think about. I guess the loudest voices in the War Thunder community didn't notice because they assumed it worked like I did, or they just GE'd their way through modifications. This also hurts since unlocking individual modifications speeds up the rate at which you unlock the rest of the modifications, since your aircraft's performance keeps improving and you're able to get more RP per game. And this would have been especially egregious back when top-tier jets had double the modification cost and didn't come with stock flares or missiles. Whether this is intentional on Gaijin's part or just another instance of spaghetti code, whatever the case may be, they need to fix this as soon as possible. Whether recompensation for RP lost over all this time is justified or if it's even possible, I'll leave that up to you, but for now, do not join a new match in the same plane if you've left a previous game early. That's all I have to say for now. I also want to make it very clear that I am very mentally stable and I also have no plans to disappear, so if I stop uploading, you know that the snail